So I think that's kind of the role of a woman, is to try to assist you to get you and support you to get to the next level. So, but the knowing how to treat somebody right, that's something that's innate. That's just something, either you're a good person or you're not. I can't really coach you to be a good person if that's not your nature. The other two are adjustable. So that's why it wouldn't have been 33, 33,
So
33.
you can't teach somebody how you want to be treated. Is that what you're telling me? You can't coach somebody on how to treat you the way you want to be treated.
You can show them, but they're gonna have to want to accept to do it or not. And I think that's the issue, right? Because you
And
can
it goes the same with both of the other two, right? According to what I'm hearing, it would be the same for the other two in that scenario.
The
If
other
you
two
can
are a
show them
benefit to you. The first one is a benefit to me.
all three of them are a benefit to you.
No, what I'm saying in terms of your energy and wanting to change that. You're gonna want to level up in terms of financially. If you're not, if you're
Are you,
making $30,000 and I'm showing you there's a way that you can make 80, you may be very motivated to make that 80. If I'm saying, and I ain't gonna say it like you're whack, in the bed, but you're going to be open to wanting to improve, especially if it's something that you enjoy doing, right? So you're motivated in those other two areas. Treating me right doesn't necessarily make you motivated to do that. It's like, what are you getting in return? The other two, you're getting something in return. The first one is really about you serving others and not yourself. So that's the difference.
I would change the topics. I would say, what was the three you gave mistaken?
sex, money, and
Way the
treating you
person
right?
treats you, sex, and then the finances, money.
I would say attraction. Meaning attraction doesn't mean he's nice looking. It just means that you're attracted. Something about him attracts you, right? I would replace that with sex because that kind of leads to you wanting to um even work with him.
Mhm.
I agree.
My point one never fails.
I agree.
Yeah, I
I
agree
don't
with
it's
AP.
like, oh, he laid it down. I'm in love. Like I don't think that that's the truth.
Yeah, I think with AP, I agree with AP on this. All the things that you mentioned, all three of them, they're for you. You know, you can get a benefit. If I treat you right, you might treat me right. Or you might give me some of the things that I want. If I treat you nicely, you might give me some action. If I treat you right, I might could be a house husband for 2025 and you pay all the bills. You know what I'm saying? So all of these things work together. And I also agree with AP on this. If you're missing these things, one of these three things, you can't even play the game. If you broke, because the only reason why you probably put money down low is because you got money now and your man got money now, right? If y'all were both broke, it wouldn't be a problem. But if you got money and he ain't got money, right? He can't play the game. That's why oftentimes when we have these conversations, what people say and what they do, it be two different things. You got this list like this, right? Then you meet this guy that does not meet the list, but you like him enough to be like, I can coach him up. Even though he does not follow the order of the list, I can coach him up because guess what? I like him enough, right? So all this stuff just be talk sometimes. And that's why I be saying it's like, yo, it sounds good on paper and it makes you feel really good. And y'all can go home and say, man, I'm cooking. Which, right, y'all cooking. But also, what people say in person or say out in the space versus what they do in their personal life, listen, them things be far from the truth.
So can I ask you a question, HD? So
Yeah, what's up?
do you think that people having certain particular lists and standards of said requirement of mates, do you think that that should be washed out? Because as we see, a lot of people depending on the ratio of what they get from said individual and how they feel about them, they will compromise or they will be commendable to said relationship if they're not getting exactly what they want. Do you think they should just throw out the list completely, or is the issue is that they just need to really just stand on the list 10 toes down and not compromise? Right? Because from what I hear sometimes with a lot of men say that when it comes down to women, even the one that they settle for or the one who's not the top model, the next top model, whatever, not, there were so many things about this said woman that they might not like, but however, they was willing to accept those things that they don't like about that woman because they enjoy or they appreciate the things that they do get for the woman, right? So now I'm trying to say is the issue is the list too strict or is the list too open? Because I see both have experienced I say criticism for deciding which side or which route they're going to go. Like for example, like if the woman wants a man who makes 100,000, that's usually like the number that keeps on getting thrown out here. If he makes, I want a high value man, he makes $100,000, but then he also has to be fine too, and then he also has to treat me good and not be looking for any options and stuff like that. Like that type of list. Should the list be scratched, or should women hone on more to their list?
Well, I don't know how to make this a short response, but I would say similar to the thing that Miss Taken was talking about, how in your mind, what you value, you put the percentage out, right? The way that I look at it is that the list matters to some degree, but if you don't really have a list that actually is a good indicator of the things that you want, or you don't know why you want these things, you can make all the lists you want. It could be tight, it could be open, it could be in the middle. The reality is you really have to learn enough about you and learn enough about what it is that you want and why you want it in order for a list to be effective, right? Because you can go to a grocery store and buy everything in the store, but you don't eat all that stuff. You don't need all that stuff either, and all that stuff in there isn't good for you. So, I have listened to a number of women's lists, and the things that they put on the list, I'm like, okay, you can ask for that, but if this doesn't exist, what are you going to do then? And I think that a lot of women or just people in general don't just pay attention to the people that's in front of them and really look at this person's character. Really look at how this person operates and really get to the value of this person to determine if this is something that you want to deal with. Because you had mentioned about a lot of guys dealing with these women that have all these issues. Well, for a lot of men, they'd be like, well, I don't know if I'm going to get better. So you make a decision hoping for the best. And then you say, hey, listen, I can suffer through the rest of this as long as I have this. But when you listen to women, they're like, I'd rather hold out even if I never get better. So brothers tend to take things more practical. We're like, yo, listen, I don't need a lot. I would like all of these things, but I think that I will be able to survive and live day to day if I have these things. Versus when you listen to a lot of women talk, they're like, well, shoot, I need this, I need this, I need this, and I need this. But when you actually go through life, you realize you might not need what it is that you really say that you think that you need. But you only know that when you start getting into the relationship or when you meet a guy that you really like. I need him to make this. I need him to make this. I need him to make this and this. But you meet a guy that you really like, and all of a sudden, that list that you held in high regard, it starts shifting a little bit. You was like, I need a man that's at least 6'2", right? You meet a man that's 5'10", and he's saying the things that you like. Now said men all of a sudden became 6'2", even though he's 5'10". Same thing with the money. You're like, yo, he ain't got a lot of money, but he's smart with his money. He spends his money on me when he has to. And it's just like, I think it's not the issue that you're creating the list. I think it's the person creating the list that's the problem, especially if you don't know the things to actually look for, if that makes any sense.